Shalom, everybody, and welcome back to Parsha Insights based on Rebbe Nachman's Likutey Moharan. In particular, we are doing Likutey Moharan Lesson 24, which again is an amazing lesson. The Parsha of the week, Vayikra, starts off with Korban Nedavot. The people who give an offering out of a nediva, as a gift. So the Parsha starts off with people, I guess, who have enough money and they offer or cattle or sheep, okay? But then the Parsha digresses to people who are poor, and it's called a Korban mincha. Korban mincha, there's no literal translation of mincha. Mincha is like a gift, or it's more translated as a meal offering. And the Parsha goes into 5 types of meal offering, and Rashi goes into this, like who offers the meal offering, who offers flour and oil. Someone who's poor, he can't afford the animals, he can't afford the birds, so he gives a meal offering which is considered cheaper than anything else. And Hashem, the Rashi brings down that Hashem really delights in the sacrifice, in the offering of the poor person, as if he offered his soul. Okay, so there's a few questions. First of all, the Torah lists 5 types of meal offerings. The first one is called solet. Solet means that the Kohen, he takes part of the flour before oil is mixed into it. He does what's called the kmitza, which is these 3 fingers here, and he puts that on, it's taken off, okay? And then the rest is mixed and eaten, whatever, but it's taken before the oil is added. The regular solet mincha, or just by if a poor person says I take upon myself as a neder nedava to give a korban mincha, so automatically it's like it's sent to, and as a pilot light, it goes right to the korban solet, which means flour without the oil mixed. That's the first one. It's the only of the 5 meal offerings that's offered without the oil mixed in yet. Second one is called chalot. Okay, the third one is called rekikim. The fourth one is machvat. And number 5 is the marcheshet. We'll explain. Solet, we just explained what it is. Chalot is where they mix in the oil with the flour together, and they bake it like that, matzot, like pancakes, but it's mixed in, okay? Rekikim is where they bake the flour with an amount of oil, I guess, and then they paste it with oil, a lot of oil on it. They keep on pasting, adding oil on top of it. That's called rekikim. So it's like splattered and smothered with oil on top. Machvat is where it's fried in a pan with the oil. You have the flour and then you have the oil underneath it. But machvat is a pan that's not so deep. It's not deep panned. So the oil is underneath it and it lifts up the actual pancake. It's called tzaf. It rises upwards. The 5th one is called marcheshet. Marcheshet is where the pan is deep. Because it's deep, there's a lot of oil, and it takes time for it to cook the actual pancake. I'm sorry I'm using that term, but that's the best term that we can understand as to what was happening. Because there's a lot of oil, so the pancake looks like it's moving. Rochesh, it's like moving and crawling. So these are the 5 types of meal offerings offered by a person who's poor. So there's a few questions. Number 1, if he's poor, so why are you offering an offering? If you don't have money, so why do you go out of your way to give a nedava? If you're poor, save your money for Shabbat, for tuition, for other expenses. If you don't have any money, why are you giving a nedava? That's a big question. So the answer is that a person may be poor, but the Torah is showing that even poor people can be in a good attitude and in a good place and still connect to Hashem despite their poverty. They're not weighed down. You have people, for example, they say, I have no money now, leave me alone, don't ask me for a donation, don't ask me for tzedakah, take me off your list, whatever. That's one attitude. The other people say, I don't have, but it's not like Hashem abandoned me totally. It's not like I don't have anything, so I'll give even from the little bit I have. I also want to give from that. Those type of people are showing that they're handling their poverty in a positive way. And they're happy and they're sameach And because they're happy and they feel that Hashem hasn't abandoned them, even though it's tight and difficult, so they're able to pull out something to give, which is phenomenal. So the Torah is hinting here of the 5 types. You notice by the poor person, all of a sudden the Torah says there's 5 types of sacrifices. Whereas a person who has money can offer a cattle or a sheep, and that's it. There's like 2 types of sheep, 5 types of sheep. Bring the sheep like with a mohawk, or bring the cattle, with like little ponytails attached to the back of his ears, whatever. No, there's 1 type of cattle, male or female, and you have a sheep and a goat, and that's it. But by the meal offering, by the poor person, there's like 5 options. What are these 5 options that a poor person brings? And we're talking about a poor person who goes out of his way to still give a nedava, even though he's poor, which shows, it reflects something amazing. What? That he's joyous. So with that in mind, Rav Nosson, based on Rebbe Nachman's teachings, he brings what we call the fabulous 5. 5 major advices culled from Rebbe Nachman's teachings on how to be besimcha no matter what the situation. And there are 5, obviously there's 5 ways of being happy dependent on the situation, but these 5 incorporate all scenarios that you can use any of the 5 depending on the severity of the situation. So let's start in the order that they appear in the Torah. Solet. Solet is where the Kohen already takes from the flour before the shemen is mixed in. The oil, Rav Nosson explains, the shemen, especially olive oil, connotes happiness. Like the verse reads from Proverbs, Shemen uktoret yesamach lev. The oil of the menorah, which is olive oil, and ktoret, the incense, they bring joy to the heart. So the idea of shemen is the idea of simcha. Okay? So now, the type of korban offered by a poor person, which is called korban solet, the oil is not mixed in yet, only afterwards. It's offered without the oil. What type of simcha does that correspond to? So Rav Nosson explains beautifully in his discourse, Likutey Halachot, the laws of giving thanks, Birkat Hoda'ah, in the section Orach Chaim, discourse number 6. He says that when a person is really low and he can't find anything to be happy about, he can be happy about the future. Once Rav Nosson told a follower who was so sad and down and depressed and he had no idea how to be happy, so Rav Nosson told him, borrow the simcha from the future, which is what? In the future, we believe as Jews that everything in the end is going to work out. There's going to be Mashiach, there's going to be a resurrection of the dead, there's going to be the 3rd temple, there's going to be the restoration of the kingship of Hashem, of the King Mashiach, and we all will come back to the Holy Land. So there's going to be major joy, and all the evil, wicked people who did us all these problems, if it's Nasrallah, whoever, all these people were enemies of the Jewish people today, and in the past, the Hitlers, the Nebuchadnezzars, the Hamans, the pogroms, the Khmelnytskys, they all pay the price. All the wicked people who did bad to the Jewish people, and also from within the Jewish people, they're going to pay. They're going to pay. The bad is going to be paid, and the good is going to be rewarded. So if that's the case, we have nothing to be sad about. If you know that in the end, everything's going to work out, so why are you platzing? Why are you so broken? Why are you so down? This, Rav Nosson says, is borrowing simcha from the future, connecting to the future joy and shining it into the present. This can apply to someone who's fallen so low, he can't find any way how to bring simcha to himself. He's fallen so low, he can't find jokes to tell himself, he can't put on music, he can't find his good points, he can't give thanks, which are the other 4 ways which we're going to explain soon. So this person is extreme in his low situation, in his tight situation. So the only simcha he can bring to him is of the future. That's the idea of the solet offering, where it's without the oil. I have nothing to be happy about in the present. My joy is in the future. So the offering of the Kohen is taken from the flour alone, without the oil, to show that this is my situation. It's dry like the flour, no joy mixed in, but my joy is coming from the future, which is the oil which is added afterwards. After the Kohen does the knitza, then the oil is mixed in and it's offered. Fine, that's the korban solet. That's the first type of joy that a poor person can manage to connect to. And when he doesn't specify what type of korban mincha he's bringing, so automatically the default is that it goes to being a korban solet, mincha solet. Number 2 is the chalot. Chalot, we said, is where the oil is mixed with the flour together and baked. It's called challah, okay? The idea of the joy, the oil mixed in with the flour, is that a person is happy with finding his good points. The oil is mixed in. He's happy about what's within. Inside the flour, with the flour, is the oil, was the joy. He finds his good points and he's able to be happy with that. That's the korban by a poor person who can find his good points. So he offers the representation of a korban chalot. Rekikim is a person in himself, he's not happy, but he's faking the happiness, which Rebbe Nachman says is the advice of telling jokes. Mili de shtuta. When you can't find ways to be happy, so act silly. Tell jokes, okay? Even though it's like, it's a fake joke, come on. Still, it counts. It counts to bring eventually real joy. So like the rekikim, where the flour is underneath and it's pasted, smothered with oil. It's not inside the flour, it's covered with it, it's pasted. There's minimal oil, but not, the main thing is that the rekikim are pasted and smothered with the oil. So to a person, he's really not in a good place, he's not happy, but he's in joke mode and telling jokes and hearing jokes and acting silly in order to bring upon real simcha. So it's like the rekikim, which are smothering the flour. So eventually it'll seep in, it'll melt into, go into, become merged with the actual flour. So to the person is in a mile dishtuta mode, in a joking mode. That's the third type of meal offering, rekikim. Machvat, where the oil's in the pan underneath the flour, and because it's a thin pan, so the oil burns faster, okay, and it lifts up. It's called saf. It lifts up the flour because the oil is burning already, and it's doing the job, heating up the flour, so it's lifting it up. This corresponds to people, poor people, who feel so poverty-stricken. And again, another point, it's not just a person who's physically poor. The representation here is someone who's spiritually poor. He feels so empty about himself. So this korban offered by someone who's poor, whether it's, we're talking about this, and on the spiritual message, is someone who's spiritually poor. Halachic dimension, it's a person who's physically poor, who can also be broken and sad. Because that's the real poverty. When a person is sad, that shows that he's poor. Because like Pirkei Avot says, Ezu Ashir Hasameach Bechalko. Who's a wealthy person? Somebody who's happy. The poor person, to get out of his poverty, he's bringing these sacrifices in order to get out of the poverty and to become wealthy. What's wealthy? That he's happy with his portion. By the poor person offering a nedava, in a sense, this is how he gets out of his poverty. Because he's able to show that even though I'm poor, I'm still able to give something, and I'm happy about it. I'm expressing my happiness. That's how I'm able to give. So this is what shifts a person from being poverty-stricken to being wealthy, Bezrat Hashem. So machvat again, which we said is the oil is burning fast and lifting up the meal offering in the thin pan. Tzaf. It's the idea of giving thanks to Hashem. There's one thing that I have good points and I see them, value them. There's another thing that you're appreciative of Hashem doing everything and you're just full of thanksgiving. So the idea of the flour, the meal offering being pushed upwards is the elevated feeling a person has when saying thank you to Hashem. When a person sees clear miracles and kindnesses from Hashem, it's normal for a person to have a feeling of hoda'ah, thanksgiving, and thanksgiving really pushes a person upwards towards Hashem. That's why he's saying thanks. Thank you, Hashem. I feel so amazing from the kindness that I say, even if things are tight in my life, but I'm able to see these miracles popping up and appreciate them and to give thanks to Hashem. That's the idea of the machvat. Finally, nice one, number 5, marcheshet. Marcheshet is where it's a deep pan and there's a lot of oil, so it's not burning fast and it's taking time. So even if now the flour meal offering is still being cooked, but it's moving because there's so much oil, they can cause movement. That's the idea that Rebbe Nachman brings of dancing. Dancing, hand clapping, music. Get yourself in the beat to move. The movement actually activates joy. That's why it's very healthy to dance. Rav Nosson told one of his followers, I'll give you a way how to get into Gan Eden. Dance every day. And as people know, it's a Breslov custom in the Breslov shuls, Breslov minyanim all over the world. They dance daily after Shacharit and after Mariv. That's the insignia of a Breslov minyan, is the dancing that takes place daily, obviously except for Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur. But every day there's a dancing after the davening in the morning and in the evening. So that's marcheshet. So the poor person has 5 expressions of his joy, which are expressed in the 5 different type of meal offerings, which are unique to the poor person. to show this is his way out. This is his way out through simcha and the different modes, the 5 modes, the fabulous 5 modes of simcha that cause him to give a nedava, to be giving, to be in a giving mode even if he doesn't have, which is an amazing feat, showing that the poor person is on his way out of his poverty. Proof being he's able to give and be happy. We should be zoche to have this happiness shine in our life, activate the 5 of simcha, and learn the message from the poor person. Shabbat Shalom.